Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a subscriber interview that is absolutely mind-blowing. Friend of the channel, longtime friend of the channel, and a very amazing interview. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you all know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. Takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they really do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload, shall we? All right, everybody. Tonight, I've got a very special guest. He had shared his encounter with me a while back, and a lot of you, I know, may have heard him on Vic's show. I'm glad to have him on mine officially, and so you guys can hear his encounter through his words instead of my narration. And for those of you guys who have not heard his encounter, it is truly an amazing encounter. Everybody, I'd like to introduce Bo, and he is going to tell us pretty much everything that he's been through out in North River. Bo, how are you?
Hanging in there, y'all. I wanted to say I appreciate y'all letting me come on here. But my first encounter with a dogman had been a few years back now, and whenever me and my fiance had been, we'd been together for about 2 years at this point, and went hunting. And that morning, I told her, it's like, I'm going up to New River. I'll be back around dark. Nothing out of the sorts. And as we're getting ready, she goes, makes me a sandwich, puts me a little lunch together, and I take her on to work. As we get to work, I tell her, I love you. I'll see you here in a little bit. Tell her where I'm going, But she told me, okay, bring me back something good to eat. I told her I would. Got up to the mountains, and New River is one of them backwoods of a backwoods place. And whenever I got to my hunting area, it just cracking the daylight. And I got up in my stand. Everything was quiet that morning. There wasn't a sound around. TJ had, told me, basically good luck. So I was kind of excited that morning. And, it was first of the season, so I was pumped. But nothing had really been moved all morning. I decided best thing, it was around noon, I decided to get down, go grab me a drink, something to eat out of my cooler. Made it back to my truck, and there was a note in there, basically saying she loved me and, basically good luck today. As I finished my sandwich, I took a bottle of water with me back toward the tree stand, started down the road, and it cuts off this little trail back down in this holler that ends in a creek bank. And as I started down the bank, or started down the little trail, there was a noise, and after all morning of hearing nothing, I just dead stopped. And, you know, my hunting instinct had told me predator because, like I said, there had been no noise, no nothing. Everything was quiet, calm, eerie almost. And I decided, stick it out, stand there for a minute, see if you can't see nothing. Out of the left side of the road, there's this big thicket about 5-10 yards out. And it's like walking into a brick wall. It's so thick, undergrowth, vines, can't hardly walk through it. But it's about 6 foot, or about 7 foot tall. I'm 6'6", and it's above my head. And I see something brown moving in it, so I'm thinking, oh yeah, here's a deer. That's good, be close to the truck, and I can get it up there pretty good, pretty quick. And I hear this real deep grunting noise, and I'm thinking, man, that's a big buck. Here we go. Sitting there for a few minutes, watching it, and all of a sudden, I'm looking, and I'm like, man, this thing is awful big to be a deer. Might be an elk, so I kind of let the gun down a little bit, off my, raised up, so I let it down. And I realized, man, this thing's huge. About that point, it stands up on 2 legs and has this ginormous, just dark brown head and piercing eyes. And at that moment, I'm shocked. There's nothing that I could think to do, but I raised my rifle back up and just pointed toward it because I didn't want to put my eye toward the scope and obstruct my view of this thing, because if it was to come at me, I'd definitely be in a lot of trouble. And at that point, it turns its head to me, and just snaps its head to me and looks at me. And my heart stops. Everything just slows down. And it starts growling, and I flip the safety off of my .308 hunting rifle. And I'm thinking, if this thing comes at me, I'm going to have one shot. It's going to get me too quick to have another one, to make sure it counts. And about that time, I hear something snap behind me on my left side. And there is a little bit of a hill that meets into the roadbed. As I turn to my left, here is this absolutely monstrous black wolf running on all fours. And as he comes running, I'm swinging the rifle toward him, and I realize he's going to get me, so I dive out of the way. This big Dogman just blows by me, and when they hit, it becomes just odd, awful collision of just teeth and blood and everything else. It was truly horrifying, but awe-inspiring at the same time, because I've never seen such a devastating fight. The big black Dogman tackles the smaller brown Dogman down onto the background and rolls. As he's on top of him, he's swinging and swiping at him on his chest and his throat and his face. The Dogman on bottom has his 2 claws hooked into his shoulders, and he's kicking at him from the bottom, cutting him with incredibly long toenails. Like the claws on his feet were insane. But as he's clawing at him, kind of kicks him off a bit, and he steps back, and the big Dogman just doesn't hardly act like it fazed him, and the smaller brown Dogman come running toward him, barreling down again. and the big black alpha, I believe, run his arm into the side of the smaller one, picks him up, and slams him on his head, and he bounces and rolls down the hill. The big Dogman lets out a ear-ringing howl, and as he turns down toward him, the smaller Dogman breaks away and runs down through the thicket and away from him. The big male turns and looks at me, and to see his eyes and teeth alone was just there's not a lot of things that can describe the fear that I felt at that moment, but seeing his claws dripping the blood and everything else and scratches and cuts all over him, I just realized that this thing is the true top predator of these woods. And I just froze and I lowered my rifle, because at that point I done knew if I hit him, I'm just going to make him mad. And he kind of looks at me, turns his head back toward the other one, and howls. When he does, the smaller Dogman is already gone, and he howls, jumps on all four, and takes off running. And at this point, I snap out of it. It could have been 5 seconds. It could have been 10 minutes. I don't know how long I stood there. But when I snapped out of it, I took off running back toward the truck at full sprint. And at this point, I was still in pretty good shape due to the Army. And when I made it back to the truck, I realized there's blood all over the side of my truck. And I'm thinking, oh, God, if one of them's in there, it's not going to be good. I look in the back, and there's a doe that had her neck ripped out. And I'm thinking, forget it. I jump in the truck and just tear out of there. As I get out of there, I never let off the gas as I went through the woods and back down the mountain. I get up there to TJ's work, and I'm covered in blood because, like I said, it's all over my truck, all over the sides of it. And I'm freaking out. And TJ's boss tells her, go, something's wrong, go, take care of him. I get her outside, and I tell her what happened, and I'm like, I don't know, we gotta go. So she kind of tries to help me through it a bit, and at this point is when I kind of started trying to look and find out and research a little more on what these creatures were in the first place, because that was the most incredible and heart-stopping experience in my life. Up to that point, whenever the next deer season had come around, and I had went to New River again. It'd been about a year, so I thought nothing of it. It'd been a while since I'd seen something crazy, so I thought maybe everything's okay and clear, and nothing's wrong. But TJ was with me this time, and we went down toward the cabin. We decided we was going to go camping, and then we'd go hunting for the weekend and just have a good weekend together. Whenever she was cooking that night, me and her had kind of split up some of the, little stuff around the camp. I was messing with the fire, keeping it warm, and she was cooking supper. I'd asked her to step outside and grab me a bottle of whiskey out of the truck. When she did, she had hollered at me and had let me know that there was something walking up the road or up the creek bank, and we'd both known about Sasquatch and seen Sasquatch in the area many times over the years. And this one family had gotten rather close, and I have fed them for quite a few years and tried to make peace, and, everything. They kept their distance from us. We didn't destroy their territory or nothing like that. So I believe that there was a mutual respect there. Up until that point, I had only seen that there were 4 of them. The young male, a young female, an alpha, and a beta. And the big male had been around a couple times, and nothing ever really, crazy or nothing like that. The young male had scared me once before, come running up behind me and made like a loud whooping noise. And it almost sounded like he hollered boo, and jumped around, and this little one is laughing, and it's laughing like you or I would, just belly laughing. And the big male just kind of grunts at him, and he kind of trots off like it ain't nothing. But whenever we were at the camp that night and seen the creature walking up, the big male Sasquatch is jet black. So I didn't think nothing about it as it come walking up. And we grabbed a crate that I carry with me, and it had like apples or old taters or stuff like that that had been bad or started going bad, or even stuff that I wanted to pick up for them. And I decided that I was going to walk it down there. TJ wanted to walk with me. So, okay, here we, ain't nothing different than any other day, really, down there. And I seen the way it was walking. I'm like, that thing's walking funny. Is he hurt? And then he kind of comes up this little, it's like a 4 or 5 foot little waterfall. It's nothing real crazy, but he makes one step and is standing on top of it. And when I realized this is not a Sasquatch, it's the Dogman, the big alpha. And I tell TJ, get behind me. I had a 6 to maybe 8-inch Bowie on my side, and I pull it out. My rifle's in the bed of the truck with my pistol. Tell TJ, get to the truck and go. Don't look back. Just go. And I know this is going to sound insane in every way, and I took off toward him. He come running at me, both claws ready to swipe. As I was running toward him, he was running toward me. He got right there within arm's reach, and I slashed toward him and cut him on the, I was using my right hand, and cut him from the left side down by his hip up toward his right side of his chest. And he swiped at me with his right paw, or his right claw, and missed me. And I swiped at him again, and I caught him on like the arm, up on the bicep area, and just, it wasn't much to faze him at all. And I'm just thinking, come on, get to the truck, just get out of here for TJ. Continue to swing at him. He swipes at me a second time, and I dodge it. But the third swipe he makes lands directly on my ribs, and it lays me wide open, throws me about 5 yards, maybe even 10 backwards into an old rotted out log. And I hit and go through it. And I'm looking up at him as he's standing above me, walking toward me. And I'm thinking, this is it. This is the end. And I hear a thud, and I look over, and the Dogman's shaking his head. And the Sasquatch, the young male and young female, are throwing river rock at this Dogman, and got his attention off of me. And by that point, TJ had made it to the truck and had turned the rifle around and shot at him. Hit him in the chest, right up by the collarbone, really. It was a little high, but he jumped back and they kept throwing rocks at him. And all of a sudden, through this thicket on the right, my right, his left, this just ginormous black shadow just absolutely destroys him. The big alpha had come to my rescue and knocked him down. When he knocked him down, he starts beating on him from the ground. The Dogman swipes at him and cuts at his knees and his legs and makes him fall to his knees. The Dogman, being much more agile, jumps up and jumps on top of him. The Bigfoot grabs him by the throat as the Dogman is just slashing away at his chest and his face and his arms. It was another one of those brutal, just awe-inspiring moments. And I'm trying to get to my feet as TJ comes running up. And she hands me the rifle, kind of helps me to my feet. And the big male hits him. He's got him by the throat with the left hand. He hits him with a hard hit to the right, with a hard right hook, and lands solid. And the Dogman kind of stunned him for a second. When he did, he kind of raised his head up a little bit. And about that time, about a leg-sized tree branch hits him directly in the chest, knocks him about 3 or 4 flips backwards. And he absolutely just had not seen it coming, just teetotal car wreck hit him. It was awful. Best impact there ever was. Whenever the female had showed up and hit him, the big male had raised up and they all started whooping and growling and just grunts and whatever else that they could. And the big alpha Dogman kind of looks around and sees all 6 of us standing here, and he realizes it's not going to happen and darts off. Well, I get up and kind of get out of the way a little bit. The big female gets him up, and the big male kind of looks at me and kind of grunts, almost like asking if I was okay. And I asked him if he was okay. He shook his head, and I believe to this day he honestly understood what I meant. And he shook his head, yes. He whooped at the young male to get the box of fruit. They carried it back up the ridge toward their cave, and it was on their way. After that, the Dogman had very strict lines of do not enter. The Bigfoot kept him at a good distance away from camp, away from people. But he had, the big male had took quite a bit of damage. So I wanted to make sure that he stayed healthy and stayed good. So I kept bringing stuff for him and making sure everything was okay with him. And he pulled through. His healing capabilities are truly astonishing to what they can withstand. Whenever the Dogman had kept his boundaries, everything went smoothly. Bears did return, pigs had returned. So, everybody was kind of living on their own. And about 6 months after the Dogman and the Bigfoot had fought, we was there at the power lines, and it looks down to the road, and there was 2 Dogmen running down the ridge, a big black one chasing a smaller, almost like a smoke gray looking Dogman, and I believe it was a big alpha running off another challenger, basically. But after that, I started started learning as much as I could so I could be better prepared to protect my family, my wife, my daughter, and I just wanted to be prepared for what could happen. Farther along it got, I made a mistake and got into the Dogman's area at one point, and the young male had come to my rescue after the Dogman had jumped down a ridge toward me. He's a big young male. Growled and roared at him, and the Dogman just shook his head and jumped back up the ridge and went on his way. I turned tail and run. The next year, during hunting, right before hunting season, there was this feller that had gone missing, and in the river in my area, and they found his truck about 2 miles from my cabin. And I had a really bad feeling about it, and I told TJ, I was like, look, you stay here with tomorrow. I'm going to the cabin. I want to go check and see if I can find something out for this family. Because this community stays real close, and I wanted to make sure that if he was hurt, he got help. If he had passed away, his family would have known what happened. And when I had made it up to the Dogman area, I had loaded a rifle and my pistol and my knife and everything else. And at this point, I had prepared myself for an encounter with the Dogman. Sorry. As I walked into the Dogman's territory, the woods got eerily quiet again, and I kind of got a bad feeling in my gut. As I started down the trail that he's on, I started noticing fresh tire tracks, and when somebody had been through there, I kind of kept going and kept my eyes up and just made it real easy, quiet going. And that's when I'd found his razor on its side, and it looked like it had been hit by about 5 or 6 trucks. The round tubing on the razor had been smashed, a tire ripped completely off, one of the seats was ripped out, the handlebar, the handle for the steering wheel had a big chunk knocked out of the top of it. The motor was knocked out. It was truly just devastating. And I noticed that there was a lot of blood all over. And I realized, hey, this is not good. I got to looking around, and I seen what was left of an arm and a foot. And, sorry, again, that's just kind of, when I realized what it was and what had happened to him, I kind of just eased my way back out of there and made it to the truck, got down to the road and told him, I called the old lady and told her what happened. And then turned around, called the law, let him come up there and get what was left of him. Whenever I did, they found his head off in the bush, and they identified him, and they come up and thank me and whatnot. I said, don't thank me. Just don't want people up here getting hurt. And they set up a TWRA guy, kept coming in there and telling me that there was a rogue bear, or a big wolf that had lost his tracker. And that is something that me and Jeff had talked about being something I overlooked at the time.
Yeah, like, what is a tracker? Like, what the hell was that? What did that mean?
that was definitely something that at that point, I didn't know about some of the programs that they had. And looking back now, there are certain indicators that I was in much deeper than what I thought. About a week later, there was about 6 blacked out SUVs come running up, surrounded the front entrance of my cabin, blocked my truck in, jumped out, guns ready and everything. 2 guys, suit and tie, come walking up to the door, beat on my door. I opened it. What's going on? And they asked me if I was the one that got hurt up here, and if I was the one that found the man. And I told them yes to both. They asked me all sorts of questions, basically. What do I know? How many was it? And at that point, one of the guys that told me his name was Agent Smith he was real rude, and every time he'd make an accusation, I just told him it was a bear. And he knew what it was. I knew what it was. Everybody did. And he kept making a point to say Sasquatch. And my family have a saying toward Bigfoot, and it is mountain men. I said, there ain't no Sasquatch or Bigfoot here. We only got mountain men. And he kindly brushed it off and didn't pay no mind. At that point, they kindly look around and basically make a mess and leave. Well, for the next 2 weeks, they're in and out a dozen times in 2 days. And I'm thinking, what's going on? But me and TJ sitting on the porch one night, I was drinking a little whiskey sitting on my front porch, and I was in the rocker at the time, and she'd sat down in hers, and we sitting there just watching the sun setting, and we start hearing just automatic gunfire and everything else, and we're trying to figure out what in the world's going on. 3 of the SUVs come rushing back down the mountain, and one of the guys, the youngest of the guys that was there, come running up and asked for help, and we kindly helped patch up one of the guys that was in serious condition while the ambulance was on their way. And then Lifestar was on the way for another 2 of them. And their squad had basically went from 12 to 4. And it was really bad. One of the guys had, Agent Smith had passed away. The one that he called Agent Black, the second guy in the suit, come up and he starts talking to me. He's like, man, you got to get out of here. That Dogman is up there and he's killed a bunch of us.
Did he say Dogman to you? I forgot to ask you.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah.
So that's the only one time that they didn't say bear.
That was the only time that he didn't say bear, yes.
Wow.
He was bloody. He was cut on his shoulder, on his right, I think it was his right shoulder, had a slash across him. And I asked him, I was like, man, what in the hell went on up here? And he told me, they went through this little rock passageway, and the Dogman was just basically picked them off one at a time. And it was a bloodbath. It was really it was a traumatic just hearing it, let alone being there. I told him, look, we're here. We got what keeps us safe. You know, just make sure you get these guys here and know where you're going. When everybody gets loaded up and taken out of there, the 4 that was hurt, they're gone. They done take off. And he's like, look, anybody ever ask, say bear, say rogue wolf, anything. And he just jumps in the truck and leaves. After that, I've not had any sightings of him since, but it does make me wonder on if he's going to show back up next year at the same time as usual. But after all that, it's definitely made me more aware of what's out there and how to protect my family from Mother Nature's top predator.
Yeah. Now you that was the last email I had from you for a couple of months, and then probably 3 months ago, you hit me with an email, and it was regarding the Sasquatch family, which was truly amazing. Yeah. Can you share that with everybody, please?
Yes, sir. Me and DJ had gone up to the cabin early spring, and when we got into the cabin, we was cleaning it out and basically getting it ready for another year. And I wanted to walk up and go check on the Bigfoot. And at that point, TJ had, she said, okay, holler if you need me. I'm going to clean up a little bit and, maybe make some supper and we'll sit around and enjoy the rest of the evening. Sounds like a great idea. So I eased my way on up into the holler and start up the bank, and I'm not noticing that the young male and young female are not standing watch. Neither is the big male. And they keep about 100-yard perimeter from their camp where they stand. And so I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I hear a loud whooping and a loud, almost stomping. So I'm stop and look around, just be easy, keep on up the hill just a little ways more. The big male standing at the cave and almost looks like he's dancing around. And starts if y'all had ever seen a chimp do the hand out, trying to get you to come closer or hand them something, that's what he was doing. But he started waving me in, and I just took my time, went easy, got up there to him, and as I walked in, he starts pointing and starts clicking and whooping again. So I started in the cave, and at this point, I've never been in there. I've never seen how deep this cave actually goes. And about 20 yards in, there's the young male and young female sitting, both facing toward the entrance and playing on the ground just like kids would. And the big male standing there just keeps pointing. I walk into the back, and there's the big female laying on a rock bed, and it's made of a mud, a bench almost. And she's sitting there with a newborn baby on her chest. And he starts clicking and whooping and jumping around again. And I'm smiling, telling him congratulations. I run down, go get him some more fruit, bring it up, and he walks me in again. I walk up to the female, and hand her an apple. And that's something that most people don't realize. They love apples. And at that point, I'd only seen one. The next morning, I think it was the next morning, I went back up there and went to drop off another basket and got to looking, and she has two young, just newborn Sasquatch holding him. And they're adorable. They look like extremely hairy babies. It was something to see. I mean, honestly, it was. But they were really generous and friendly toward me. I mean, they never showed any aggression or any kind of territorial display toward me about it. And I set down the basket, eased my way backwards. They picked it up, eat, and carried on. And TJ got up there and got to see him as well. And we had found out a few months back that she was having a baby. And the big female starts rubbing her stomach and clicking toward TJ. And I believe that she honestly knew that she was pregnant. And later on, I've seen them here a couple months later, and them little things are already up and running through the woods like a little black blur. And it's amazing to see that they're adapted to survive so well that even so young, them things are so quick on their feet. But I'm truly blessed to have seen and had some of the encounters I've had with them. And if I see anything else, I'm definitely going to be hollering back at y'all with it, because, like I said, it's truly amazing to see that, these things aren't just evil killing machines, that their human qualities are accentuated instead. I mean, they show so many human qualities, from smiling to waving to, even waving you in, like, come here. And it's amazing to see.
Yeah, you got yourself it's like Luke from Taylor, Mississippi with his Sasquatch friend. You've got yourself a friend for life almost, but you've got a family of friends, And
yeah, I definitely feel like I'm part of their troop whenever they done that. That was something that was amazing to see, because for TJ to be with me and to experience that together, everything that we've been through, it's, it's made us a lot stronger as our relationship,
Right. I got a quick question. I've been reading a lot of comments and stuff just throughout the channel and throughout the videos. Now, you've had the up-close personal experience with the Dogman. What did you notice genitals? For some reason, that question pops out a lot. And is it like a man's genitals, or is it like an animal's genitals, I guess?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on that one, to be honest, because I noticed he was packing. I'll put it that way, generously. He was, both of them, and the female has breast.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can definitely tell them apart. At least I know I have been able to, at least for the most part.
Okay, all right.
But they do show some genitals and features that, discern sexes, that I've noticed anyway. Like, the face of the male is more masculine than the female. Hers is a more slender and sleek face, almost like a man to a woman.
All right, cool.
And that's something else that I've noticed. Whenever the male is more square and blocky, the females is like an oval and more slender.
There was one thing that when you described the youngest female, the color of her hair or fur.
The beautiful golden brown.
Yeah, that was truly an amazing, just the way you put it. You know what I mean? It was just like you were at awe with
gorgeous.
It. Yeah.
She has this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, like almost a golden retriever gold color to it. She's really pretty colored, and I don't know, it's something that surprised me, seeing that the big male is a dark black, the big female is dark brown, the young male has a black body, and his shoulders have brown patches on the shoulders, like shoulder pads. But that young female is just this beautiful golden brown, just amazing color to her.
Is she darkening as, time goes by, or is she still a lighter color?
I've not noticed any darkening of her color. Honestly, she is still just that gorgeous, like, autumn gold brown.
Yeah, that's the color you used, exactly, just that. Now, the babies, are they you said black blurs. Are they dark like the dad, or is it kind of a cross?
Both the young, the babies that I've seen are jet black. And I don't know if that changes later on, but it's something that I'm definitely interested in seeing.
Right.
The male, when he was younger, didn't have the brown patches on his shoulder or a brown, like a crest on his chest here. He didn't have that until he got a little older, and I noticed that you got to noticing the difference in color. So that could be something. I'm not saying I'm a professional in any of this. I'm just something I've noticed.
Right. Wow. That's just, you have true. I mean, I remember when you submitted your encounter to me, and I had no idea how to, I was still narrating at the time, and I'm so glad that I'm able to have you on so you can tell everybody, a lot of people have heard you on Vic, but it just, I feel blessed to have you share it on my channel. Just because, we've struck up, we've got, we've emailed each other quite a few times, and, we've got a good rapport with each other, I think. And, I enjoy getting the emails and the updates from you. And, I think you shared with me not even in an encounter, you were just like, me and TJ are expecting. And I was like, congratulations, and you're a real good guy. And, I truly appreciate this. And I wish you and TJ nothing but luck in your family too. So
I appreciate that. And honestly, I do thank you, because a lot of people that I'd say something like this to would just think I'm insane or making it up or anything else along them lines. But whenever I would said something to y'all didn't question it. Y'all helped me out, and me and you have actually talked on the side here and kind of helped move forward, and that's been a big help as well. But as you were saying, I have a genuine respect for y'all, because y'all help out a lot of people just by getting the word out. Get a load off their chest. Trust me. But whenever it comes to, like, personal, I wanted to check up on y'all and see how y'all been doing. And y'all have done the same. And I appreciate the friendship that, has come out of this as well.
Yeah. I have really, just this channel, I've met so many great people on, and, I'm fortunate because, I feel fortunate because I've met more people just on this channel than I've met in my life. You know what I mean? And it's when you meet genuinely good people.
and I know through like the comment section and everything else, there are certain people that will message and respond to something I say, over and over, and it's great to see that people communicate and be able to talk without having people hounding you and just being really rude. And there's not a lot of that on this channel, and that's something that, really amazes me, and it's real fortunate to see.
Right, yeah.
And I truly think that helps with everybody's process. I mean, honestly, I do.
Well, I'm going to cut it short. We're going to say goodbye, but then me and you will finish up the phone call. But I just wanted to thank you again for coming on. And would you like to have a couple last words with everybody before we end it?
Basically, I want to get out there and let people know what's going on in the world, and I don't want them to think that every one of them is just some evil killing machine. And some of them truly have a genuine good heart to them, and that doesn't mean let your guard down. Just be smart. That's the biggest thing I could honestly say to anybody that want to or hope to ever have an encounter. Just be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to what's going on and respect them. That is the biggest thing. Make sure you show respect.
Definitely.
But that should be.
That's the key. That's the key right there. If it's okay, in the thumbnail, can I use the picture that you sent me of your wounds in the thumbnail of this video? Is that cool?
That's fine. I was actually going to say that and completely forgot when I said something about my ribs being smacked on. But that's fine completely. Anything you need, just holler.
Yep, I still got those pictures. So I'll put those in that will be the thumbnail for this video, guys. So if you guys are wondering why there's a set of ribs with a bunch of scratches on it, that's Bo's war wounds right there. And Bo, thank you for coming on, and everybody have a great night. All right, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this interview as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Bo is one heck of a great guy. He's been a friend of this channel for about 4 years now. He sent that experience to me. I narrated it 4 years ago, and then he went on a different channel and shared it, and then shortly thereafter realized he made a mistake in his own words and came back here to share it. Man, and what's crazy is after all of this, he kept having experiences with these creatures, and then mysteriously his cabin in New River mysteriously caught fire and burnt down. Very strange. Thank God his family wasn't in there. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'd like to thank you for supporting the channel. Your support is what makes this channel honestly so special and what continues its growth. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real. They're out there. They are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, God bless you all.